right, so it's in progress. Thank you everybody for showing up to this webinar, December 5th. Today, wanted to talk to you about uploading contacts and the different ways that you can upload contacts. But first, did you guys have anything that you guys, maybe any questions that you guys had before I walk you guys through some uploading contacts? Does anybody have any challenges? Or does everybody just use Sparky?
I haven't used Sparky yet.
Okay.
I'm going to Allison for lessons.
Yeah, I use Sparky almost exclusively, whether it be for I take pictures of my business cards that I get and have Sparky put them in using the, smart tags as to where I met them or the category that I want to put them in. And then
do this via text, or do you do this via email?
I do both. I do, sometimes I'll just snap a picture and send it via text to Sparky for the business cards.
Okay.
For the uploading of individuals, or I've been putting in my onesie twosies myself into the program. But for instance, I've got during open enrollment, what I've done is I kind of I'm hoping this works, because I know Cassie's used it, and correct me if I'm wrong. So open enrollment, we have additional people that have come on board. We've had people that have dropped off, but I will send the updated Shield at Work to Sparky and just say, please add or update.
So he goes through that file and goes and finds any duplicates and updates the information, and then anybody that's not there adds them.
Right. And then what I do is I go back for those people that have opted out, and then I change their status.
Okay, so you disposition them, which is good, which is, I would say, a good thing. And if you ever want to have triggers automatically set up, by you dispositioning and doing this, it changes the status. And if it changed the status to which would alert an action plan, it would do so, right?
Oh my God, that's like just too far over my head, because that terrifies me,
I didn't think I was gonna hurt anybody with that sentence. But apparently it rang a bell. But
you think this is October 31st or something?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, no, this is no April Fool's, that's for sure. So but that's essentially what you guys kind of need to be doing is dispositioning these contacts at least once a year, twice a year. The more that you do, the more that you'll know that you have real people, you know what I mean? And then, like, with the communications while you're sending stuff to them, check up on any of the bounce backs, update the contacts. If you have like a bad email, well, then start to reach out to somebody, right? Now, if you've got a bad email, you can always either do that yourself personally or create an action plan that sends text messages daily or every other day, however, frequency you want to set up, so that you can begin to get him to reply back to you to find out, hey, can I have a good email for you? Because, this and that and the other. Because at the end of the day, you guys want to have a really strong list that you guys can send out to, but most importantly, know that those are real people, and not send lists and do little marketing things in which go out to people and you don't really know if those are good emails. And if you're just sending emails to emails that don't open and people not paying attention, it doesn't do you any good at the end of the day.
So for me, a lot of my groups, especially if they are on a enrollment platform, oftentimes I'm just getting their work email. So if and and sometimes just their work phone number. I mean, it's a conundrum, just because of the way employees want to share their, their personal, information. So what I've done is, if somebody opts out, I want to make sure that I've designated it so they get nothing. They get nothing from me. I keep them in the group. I tag, if they're affiliated with the group, I've got their old membership numbers, but I don't communicate with them at all. Now, the people that leave the company, I try to send a pre-cancel type situation. And if they have a company email, I can't obviously use that. So hopefully I've been able to get a cell phone.
Do you think it might be good that you guys create something throughout from the moment that they come on, that you begin to get a secondary and other type of phone number? Like if it's your work, if you can identify that it's a work, get the other emails and get the other, just to, and I don't know if there's a good excuse that one could come up that somebody would find that it's valid, right? But
it's a little bit hard sometimes. I've tried it with one of the HR people, and they flatly refuse, said if they gave their work email and their work phone number, I'm not going to give out their personal.
No, maybe something you personally, you create an action plan that reaches out to them prior, right? So that you have this information for when the pre-cancels do happen, that you can actually send it to their, or like a simple request. Do you have a second email that we could use just in case for notification? You know what I mean? Just something like that begins to.
I'd like to see how maybe Cassie or Kathy handle that, because that's very tricky, I think, in terms of soliciting, personal information that they've not given out.
But in regards to uploading, you're saying you're using Sparky exclusive, either or text or email, and you do the small ones, or the I guess the singles, just by hand.
Yes, I do the onesie twosies,
Okay.
by hand, and
In the
put them
moment
in.
when the onesie twosies turns into 10s to 20s, right?
That would be a great problem to have.
You might lean towards uploading and using maybe what we show you here, right, to upload 10, 20 at a time. And if you can do 10, 20, then I think that this list can, or like when you upload, it'll take up to like a 10,000 lines, I think it says. And so you can really, 10,000 rows at a time. So that's quite a bit, right? I'm going to show you guys basically just the two versions, right? Just simple pulling it up from an Excel. There's two ways you can do it, and then mapping the data. But who else amongst us, like maybe Rick or Fred or maybe Bob, do you guys upload like an Excel at a time, even if it's 10, 20, or whatever the number may be? But do you find yourselves using that as an upload, or this copy paste feature? No.
Predominantly, I do Excel spreadsheets, Jeremy.
Do you map yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's all created by me.
Okay, so you do it and then you map it. All right. So and in this experience, is this what works for you? Is using the Excel? Have you used this one where you just copy paste? Have you ever played around with that one?
Well, if you're showing us something on the screen, there's nothing on the screen.
Well, I want to thank you again for
that. You keep referring to something I should be looking at, and I keep looking through my eyes and not seeing it. So
yeah.
Well, Nancy,
There's always a good day, to say thank you. And for that, you get a thank you. So this is where I was, right, in contacts.
Can you just make it a little bigger, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
It starts to kind of, starts to kind of come down. So
Okay.
I hope that does you well. So this is where I was referring, and then this is what I was referring to is just kind of like an Excel. And so what you do is you just kind of highlight it, copy it, and you can paste it into this option, which is basically just copying it. And by copying it, it takes all the spaces. So what you're gonna use as the delimiter is the space. And then by hitting next, essentially it just does all of that for you, right? And just basically puts it into the columns. These are the people that I want to upload. So now I can move to the easy part, which is mapping. Now with this one, I'm not sure why it didn't take the, let's go back. So it didn't take the header, which it should.
Yeah, didn't get the header row.
Did you catch it in your copy, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's what I thought I did. I'm not sure if it's because it's in this little floaty bar kind of thing that
Yeah.
if it's not
A loady bar.
Well,
yeah.
you can set it up so that that top header bar floats, Allison. So as you move through your spreadsheet, you can always see the column titles.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how this, because I downloaded the list so that I could just delete, start from scratch, and show you guys what uploading is. And so there's the first name, the last name, and then the same space, and now hitting next, and here we go. So this we're going to use obviously for the mapping. Now these are the formats. This is the format and just numbers. So based on that, it'll take this data, and now mapping is, and this is the easiest part when it's 4. So I suggest if anybody wants to try this out, try it out with less columns, with just the main first name, last name, email, phone. And then you can go ahead and do group mass edits. And then you can associate them to tags if they're part of a specific group. You can just highlight them and do mass edits and essentially get to the same place, and then have the knowledge of
Jeremy,
playing around with that.
would you have to, for the email and the phone, do you have to do it as primary or alternate for it to go in the right place with Sparky?
So this one is email, right?
But we have 2 choices for email
And
in
you'll
Field
see that
Notes.
that choice is here. So
Okay.
however it's labeled in your categories, you'll see that second category. So as long as you know this is the email where in fact needs to be the cell phone number, right? Because that's where the action plans will pull from. So the cell phone is best to be in this spot. Oh, sorry, this is email I highlighted. This is phone. But you understand. So you just want to, if you have this labeled differently, right? You just want to make sure that this is to how it is in your label. So alternate phone is here. And then where's I think there's also alternate email, if I'm not correct.
That's just
Alternate
below.
email.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm not going to touch those, but if I did put email here in alternate email, that's where it's going to put the email is in that place, right? So you do want to, kind of be hipped to that at least. So far, since this is just the 4 things, the first name, the last name, the email, and phone, when you hit next, this is all that it's showing up in. And you also, I don't know if anybody knew, but you could change from here, right? And when you have invalid rows and errors, it's best to use this little drop down menu, right? Because that will just highlight whatever is incorrect, and then you can go ahead and make the correction, and then you're all set, right? So let me see if I can I think this will error out if I'm not correct. So you see how it errors out. Now you can hit the valid, invalid, and then it's going to take you. So one time I had like 500 contacts that I needed to enter, and there was little mistakes throughout the whole sheet. And when I first started, I didn't know about this. So I was essentially going through line by line and going from all the way from side to side, up and down, moving an inch at a time, going left and right, looking for little red splotches, and did not know that this existed. And if I did, it would have just highlighted only these and gave me these so that I could make the correction and then move forward with uploading the data, right? And so this takes minutes for those 21 contacts to get pushed, most likely while we discuss things. Now, did anybody have any questions as to uploading in that manner, which was just the copy paste? Now, this manner is the same is the same thing. You just basically have to find your Excel, and it's going to do the same as long as it's built the same, which I just basically copied and pasted the same. Here's my data. Oh, I didn't know I had duplicates. Interesting. Different phone number. So if we go to the next, in some cases, you'll see that it picks up on the columns on its own. For the other ones, you have to select it. And once again, we get to the other. And so no errors. And then you would hit next. And of course, this would be uploaded as well. Let's see if by now we have our contacts. Is any of that foreign for you guys, or do you just rather use Sparky because of now? I would say when you're getting your group stuff and you're not too savvy with Excel, definitely lean on Sparky. Sparky will do a lot. Also, give him some context. He loves context. It helps him out with trying to do his best to upload the data as you wish. And so if you can give him any context as to, like Allison mentioned, add, update, a huge list of people to a specific group, because, and that's how you guys get it. You guys get it by group, right? So it's not like it dumps everything in one. You get them individually. And so as you pull your groups, you can instruct Sparky to add and upload. And then all I would do is with those files, just make sure Sparky, has done it correctly. So just try to, as he uploads stuff, just do like a spot check. If you got 100, check, maybe 10 random little accounts to make sure everything was done. That's what I do when people say, hey, when I'm walking people through and doing stuff and assisting them, I always spot check stuff. I never kind of assume Sparky did it 100% correct, because I've seen maybe .coms not put at the end of stuff and simple fixes, but it hurts you not fixing these things prior, because then you're the one that has the database full of little anomalies and things like that. And so, all right, let's see here if by now we have our contacts. Any questions so far? Any questions related to this or as to your jobs in particular? I get a lot of category questions as to what categories do I use. And so I know we came up with, I've had this discussion with Kathy, right? And they use theirs where they have the top part and the relationship status more to the sales flow and the stages. Or no, it's the sales stages. And then below they have the different categories, right? Whether if it's active, pre-cancel, and this is not your guys's, and so this is just another test, but it doesn't have any of the Legal Shield categories. But when I spoke to her about it, we came up to the why those were the best is because that's how she was trained. And so based off of that, I just wanted to maybe
Getting out of here, because
Right.
speak to you guys about how that's the same thing that you guys need to do. Second.
So what you're saying is that they take the relationship status under the categories, and they have, what they've done is they have created under managed items what they consider to be their sales cycle.
Yeah, they've got, if I remember correct, they've got like, they number it so it stays in order. They've got like prospects, DM, right? And they have, and it was to what I remember her saying was it was how she was trained on Legal Shield and how she trains everybody else. And so I said, well, if it's already in your head and that's, you already got it recorded, why not use those same categories for your sales flow and these categories as well? So up here, she has the DM and the sales in the stages basically. And then here she has the different categories, whether if it's an active group, in the different stages that takes, plus the pre-cancels, LSA associates. I think she's got place for brokers, right? So that's what I'm essentially kind of instructing you guys to do is just the same. Come up with your own process where, and a lot of it is the same, I think. Just you may not use a specific bucket or a category like other people use it. So I wouldn't say, just have it there because you want to have it there, but to really have it there because you use it, right?
I think, Jeremy, in ours, that buyer/seller,
That
I
is
know
large group.
that's your
large-
demo,
Right,
but
right.
in, I think our categories, that looks different.
It's large groups, large group contacts, if I'm not correct. I just want to see these. Ta-da. So you can see in a moment's notice that we will have the upload take place. If you give me a sec, I will go ahead and look up our test environment for you guys. Mr. Bob Johnson. But if you're thinking about what categories do I use, you don't necessarily have, it doesn't have to be the same thing for everybody, right? What I'm alluding to is that if you have the reason for having touch points, use some categories up in touch points. If you have no reason for touch points, if you wanted to keep it all in one place, you could just use your follow-up frequency for that. Just create your own with manage items, create your own categories that, that is more for you. Like, so if you do a lot of prospecting, if you put a lot of new leads in, and then you begin to go out to reach out to them, well then, create that bucket. If they've jumped the new hoop and now they've either turned into a non-interested or, let's say, it's either you do or you don't, right? So either they turn into an active group or an active customer, then you can now have another, category for that, because that's where you're most likely going to want to have, your retention campaigns and that kind of stuff. I could see for pre-canceled. So if anybody turns into a pre-canceled, that would be a good category. The whole point is to build them into these two sections. Definitely use tags, but those are more as just as like a tagging system. I really don't want to like trigger a lot of stuff off of the like plans offered. However, you still can. I just like to trigger as much as that automation kind of stuff through here, but you still can. If you wanted to trigger a specific email with just a specific tag, you definitely can do that. But yeah, so this topic has a lot of people I've seen, they don't know what to set for themselves. And my advice to you is just basically set everybody has their own sales stages process. Basically, that's what needs to be put here so that you guys can then categorize correctly and then utilize all of the action plans and templates that we've created so that um, I don't know, I guess you guys can bring in some more business. From the people that are here, I had a question. Who does networking or focuses more on networking? Would that be you, Mr. Allen?
If you're talking about networking from the Legal Shield perspective, not really. Not
Business
very much of
solutions.
that. I'm more solutions. Yeah.
More business solutions. Gotcha.
Don't do enough solutions, but I'm more.
Well, that's what we want to do.
Which
We want to
means
do
my
more solutions.
networking is really suffering.
So let's talk business solutions for a moment. So business solutions requires you, obviously, you got the CRM for a reason, right? So it's a place to put all your stuff. But
hmm
for business solutions, what would you be using the CRM? In my eyes, I want to say like for outreach, maybe trying to get to them, maybe try to
hmm
create meetings and appointment and that kind of stuff. Do you currently have stuff in place to do that?
I really don't yet. To be honest, I've used the CRM a whole lot more for everything else that I do
Okay.
than I have for my Legal Shield business, although I've been working on getting that set up so that I can use it for that.
Okay.
Um, and so probably, my elements of virtual selling that we do is really the number one thing. In fact, as we came on today, I was actually going through my bounced email list and getting those fixed and corrected.
Mm, okay.
So,
That's good.
based on what you said last time. Um, so, but all of the things that I'm learning, all of the things that have been taught, and the things that have been built so far, I can see being very, very beneficial as I move into doing things with Fieldnotes versus any of the old ways that I did them, or the ways that I thought I would do this if it weren't so darn labor intensive. And Fieldnotes is the thing that will make it less so.
It is labor intensive in the beginning because you got a lot to
hmm
build, you got a lot to
Yep.
memorize. Because the more
Yeah.
you memorize, the less you have to like start from scratch. So
hmm
like memorizing all of the categories that you have here is extremely important, right?
hmm Yeah.
Memorizing the type of categories that you have here also I feel important because
Yeah.
then you don't have to go back a step. You don't have to look at the contact page. Now, in the beginning, I can tell you what is a good thing to do is just open up multiple of these. So have your dashboard open.
Yeah.
Live in your dashboard and no one's going to say nothing for you, or your system isn't going to run slow just because you have your dashboard open. And then have a blank contact sheet open.
Yeah.
And if
I
you
do
wish,
that kind of stuff all the time. Yeah.
so that it begins to kind of put it to memory, because the more that you know what you need to gather, it's also when like you're speaking to somebody,
hmm
you have the contact sheet in your head. So now you know what you need to fill up, what's important to
hmm
fill up. Like if I'm able to get a birthday, well, good. And if this is somebody that I want to kind of be on top of, birthdays are cool. This kind of information, or putting stuff in comments, or creating a note that you take down all those little important things. Or I would also say create spheres out of them so that you can, when you go to a contact, one thing that I like about this, and if you think about it in the sales kind of method, if you're going through your list and you pull up Anthony, you have his stuff here, right? So
hmm
so you've got a good profile for him. So if this was a business or an individual person, let's say they're not yet with the company, well, now you have, if you took really good notes and you have it all here, you would have all that's in front of you. You would know that he's a family man, so you know he's probably looking into the family plan. You know, he's also a business owner. So if you had a tag with business owner, family man, those kinds of things, those are like the little things that would help you just be a little bit more when you're on the phone, when you're dealing with the people, if you're dealing with the HR. It's all about connection. It's all about resonating with people. The more that you
Yeah.
can sound like you physically remembered all these things about the person, the more he's just going to feel, wow, this, Rick remembers me. So at the end of the day, I
Good
mean,
morning, Mr. K. How you doing?
you want them to kind of be part of your clan. So with this, I would say it's definitely helpful to have all of this kind of organized so that you can not really be thinking about this every day. What do I get? What do I need to do? That's just out of your head. And then it's about setting up appointments. And so for like business solutions, I've been trying to like eat so much Legal Shield lately to kind of understand what is it a person that basically when they come into the business and they want to do it for as like their own business or they want to do business solutions, right? Or if they want to do it just independently, like through networking, right? And then what are the different avenues? And so that's a little bit of what I kind of want to more help you guys right off the bat is getting data in, getting it from the places that you all have it, either with Sparky or with yourself. I've taught a couple of people how to upload the stuff on their own, and that's their method now. They don't even Sparky who. So you know what I mean? So that
Poor
that
little dog.
exactly like it's
He
like
needs
just
he needs context.
shoo him. You know
That's
what I mean?
okay. I'll take, I'll pick up the slack on
You'll
that.
use Sparky. That's good.
Yep.
So that I can see everybody does it differently, but what's important? Getting leads into it, then doing so if they're already customers, okay, let's get them with the retention. You know what I mean? Start building that kind of rapport with the little drips. And then so now it's what? Create more appointments so that you can get in front of the faces of more people. That's I guess through prospecting, right? And then there's like the other little campaigns that you guys have, like the pre-cancel, right? So that's another when pre-cancels come around. And then I guess I don't think I've spoken a lot about like what happens during like open enrollment and that kind of stuff. So maybe we can discuss a little bit about what happens at a later, not at this one directly, but maybe at a later webinar. We talk about some of the duties and what we have here in place that can help you with those duties. And then I can demo them and show you guys them, and then we can keep it as a record for just the webinars. Anybody can come back to this if they wanted to, use a specific action plan or use specific templates. But that's what I want to kind of get to is show you more and get you to do more, right? A la fuerza, whether you guys want to or not.
um, based on what you're going over now and what was something you said a little bit earlier, and then something that we talked about in the last session. So I'll go back to the last session first.
Sure.
You showed us the form that you can build that you can use to fill in. When someone does that, is
Yeah.
there an automatic or a manual way that we can get some kind of a notification that that has occurred?
So with this notifications, we can do that.
Okay.
I think with this notifications lead, I think this one of these is for all notifications, including lead creation, etc. So um,
Where
I
are
would
you
say
going to find that?
it's a little bell next to your name
Oh,
here at top. And then when you go to it, it tells you to click the settings, and then it opens up this little form. You can also see it in settings as well. I can show you there.
Okay. So if you create a form and you, within the context of the form, set that that record as a lead, and you've
It's gonna
got
when they hit submit to it, it's then
mm-hmm,
gonna just put them in. And then there
mm-hmm,
is some there is some things that you can, when you're setting the form, such as referrals, such as referral source. I think you can, these are plans. So this is kind of spheres, if I'm not correct. Here's buyer and
Mhm.
seller, right? So let's say you
Okay.
created new, filled out the form or filled form, or application. I don't know how you would word it, but basically come up with a one word kind of form filled out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in the buyer and seller. Now you see this tag, but this is large groups, and
Right.
this is large groups
Now, Rick, was this what we were
content.
talking about to capture when we were at networking events or
Right. Yeah. When you go to a
a
vendor
events?
show or
Yeah,
something
you,
like
you
that,
pull
and
up
you
your
want a contact
website
form.
and you pull
Mm-hmm.
up the page, and you either have it on an iPad or you walk around with it yourself, and you can upload data
Mm-hmm.
right this way. So there's
Yeah.
these little tracking fields that we can track. Home listing, add URL. So this is what I wanted, and this is what I'm trying to do, is with somebody that, a friend of mine that has that code knowledge, is getting into this form, because this form speaks directly to the CRM and to the categories that we have. But since
Mm-hmm.
this form hasn't been touched for Legal Shield, because it's just a paid service and it's as is, not much modification we can do. But I went in here, when you pull up the code, you can actually change these little things and change
Mm-hmm.
these things, but it has to be just, manually done. I'm trying to come up with something that would work really for us and hopefully speak to as many categories as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But the minimum is email, phone, and a message. This message we can change. So it says, tell me what plans you're interested in. And then below they can put that info, and then this would capture it and it would put it
Okay.
in the system. So that's one.
So here's where I'm going with it.
Uh-huh.
If I'm going to do some kind of a trade show, vendor show, whatever, I
Mhm.
know I'm going to have a bunch of them, and I'm going to have a way of categorizing them so that I go look and I see them there. But if I decided I also wanted to put that in a place, let's say on a website, or use it as a form alongside a video, so like I've got a capture page, and somebody's going to go there at 3 a.m. and I want something to tell me that somebody went there and filled out the form, so I know now to go look for it. And that's kind of what I was getting at there. If I just have to physically go get one, or tell Sparky, hey, if something new shows up here, let me know. Um, or hey, you have 3 new people filled out your form, or something of that nature, so that I don't have to guess that um, something happened while I wasn't looking.
So new lead, or new contact filled out the.
Okay.
So this is a task appointment reminder. It can be done for all
Okay.
day, or it can be done specifically, right? I would maybe say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, all day. And then we can set this. So this is 0 days after the trigger. We can say this as a all day reminder. It will go to you. Then
Mm-hmm.
we go to trigger plan. We use this option. In this option, we will go to add filters, and you'll see here contacts that are created today. So this is going to
Okay.
be the filter, right? And you're basically
Okay.
going to leave this as that and save and exit. And this is going to be, so first name.
That will work.
I mean, this is not what you wanted, right? You just wanted the one thing, which is contacts that are created today, for you to get a reminder or some type of alert, right?
Yeah.
So
No, that
save,
works. That works just fine. So
and
for
then
what I want to do,
and
it's
then you
not
hit schedule.
necessarily an immediate notice,
No, but it's
Uh,
a
but
it's a reminder to you to know that you've
yeah,
got somebody that
got somebody
way.
new. Mhm.
Exactly. You'll see that pop
They,
up. You
they
can
were
go to it.
created and I didn't do it, and I need to go look, and that's all I need.
Exactly. And then you pull
Yep.
into the contact and you just manage it, then whatever task that you have set up. And so, yes, once we put that into place, having this set up to alert you. Now, you're just having this set up to alert you. But if you create the form
Mm-hmm.
correctly so that it has the correct referral source and you know that you're at a specific trade thing or event that is, X is going on, let's say you create the outreach that you want to give to them. So it's a welcome, it's an intro, boom, boom, boom. Here's all my stuff. Like by the time they hit that, you can have
Mm-hmm.
something that basically gives them a couple of hours maybe so that they can
Mm-hmm.
go through the event nice and nice and dandy, not get hit with a bunch of stuff at the
Yeah.
event. And then when they're going home, they're like, oh, I just got a message from Rick. Wow, this is cool. You know what I mean? And then they have all of your stuff, but they still stay in some type of drip campaign that
Mm-hmm.
you can either create. So if what you want to get out of that event is appointments, this is the same type of outreach thing that I created in real estate for a lady, which was
Mm-hmm.
a cool little snazzy video of her, right?
Mm-hmm.
She did it
Yeah.
from YouTube Shorts, so she's got the analytics behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it had all of her info. It had
Yeah.
so much, and it goes 7 days strong, and it just basically speaks to them open ended. If they reply
Mm-hmm.
to any of that communication, it pauses, and then now you get in there and you pick up, and you didn't have to stay on top of any of those people. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you created an action plan that would do a strong week, and then maybe like as the week goes, it does a couple of touches, maybe for 30 or 60 or 90 days to see if,
Mm-hmm.
maybe within that time frame somebody will then reach out to you. Who knows,
Yeah.
right? That
Yikes.
essentially is 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 a good place to be, right? Because now you're just putting the form to work. Now your job is to get this form in as many people. And if it's on the web, you could email it to people. You could, find prospects. You could do the same thing that you do at the event. You just need to find people to do it. And that action plan works for it doesn't work for everybody. It may work, you may build it just for an event, but you copy
Mm-hmm.
paste it, right? You clone it, and then you dress it up to the new event or to
Mm-hmm.
who you're speaking to, and you just kind of keep it moving. And so if you haven't already created an action plan for yourself and used it and tested on yourself or a friend, I will be the first one to throw myself out there. If you want to send me, if you want to create one and then use me as the
We
dummy,
don't have to throw you under the bus. In other words, you'll just jump under, right?
let me have it, right? So create one. Try to get me to do something. I don't know. Make
Mm-hmm.
make it creative. Try
We've
try to
been
do yeah,
trying. I
yeah,
don't
try to
know.
get me to get this legal stuff. You know what I mean? Like, tell me, and then I'll help. And by you doing that, you're gonna see what it is, right? And you'll see
Yeah.
how these things work. But
Yeah.
most importantly, you copy paste them. And now you
Mm-hmm.
have this little cookie cutter thing, and now it's just put me in front of somebody. You have something for them.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of what I'm trying to, not that I am going to be stepping on anybody's toes and soon shortly going to be an associate. No worries. But I really would like for you guys I would like to take somebody who's nothing and turn them into something, and then say, well, with all the tools that the CRM did, this is how I got to this, this is how I got my ring. This is how I got my, you know what I mean?
Oh,
My,
you
yeah, I'm
do know
trying
a little bit about us.
I've been, yeah, no, I know there's a lot of groups out there. You guys ain't alone. What I do find is a lot of material from like 6, 7 years ago. So I don't know if the people are still in it or doing it, but the material is still out there. I do
Mm-hmm.
know that you guys have an engaged associates page, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
I,
we have
I
a Legal Shield Associate support page, I think is
in
what you
in
call
that page, I think there is a title for training, and you guys have training material, right? If you ever want to
Yeah.
forward any of that stuff over to me, I'm curious. I since I don't have my own engaged access, I find myself limited. But every time I go into a Zoom with one of you guys, I always see a little bit of the bells and whistles. And so I do want to educate myself and get up to speed with you guys so that I can put you guys on the road to I guess glory as quickly as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because I don't think, like, for me, when I see it, it's like you guys got all the contact, like you guys got, you know, the info. So now it's just get it into here and then play around with it. And for me, you know, it's all, I don't want to say it's a hit and miss, but when it comes to some of the creations of the action plans and what you want to do, um, you know, just snooping in, I saw one of you guys had a conversation with somebody that you guys created something, you sent it out, but it took a whole different conversation, which is still good because it's always business, right? But out of a simple email you put together trying to inform people of the product and kind of stuff like that, it one of you guys, you know, met somebody and it created an opportunity, right? And so those are the things that I would I would like to happen more often, right?
Mhm.
And the only way that that's going to be that's going to happen is by actually utilizing. And so
Yeah.
that's
Push serendipity.
indeed. And so thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
I hope
What
that this
what
was
one quick one quick thing, because I know
sure.
you're kind of closing down there, which I appreciate.
Absolutely.
You mentioned using the categories to trigger. So let me ask you if I've
Mhm.
got the philosophy straight. Use a category, a broader thing, to trigger an action plan, but then use your tags to filter it, as opposed to using the tags directly to trigger. Is that
Yes. Yeah.
okay?
In the sense of when you're trying to work through a flow,
Mm-hmm.
there is a change property that we could use in some of those action plans, which would then not have to make it where you would have to then trigger the action plan again. It would just, at the end of one action plan, it would then change the property, which would then go on to the next action plan. If it was already set up, it would continue. And if you set that through a bunch of action plans, you set one and don't even have to think about as he gets to the end. But through going through my trials and tribulations, I found out that spheres tend to become a problem in that. So that's why I suggest the follow-up frequency and the large group contact section to do that, because that's where it doesn't cause any problems. But you still independently can trigger an action plan through a sphere. It's not that it's gonna, you know, break anything. It's just in that instance that I'm talking about using it and automating it, a sphere will and has the possibility to make hell for anybody. And so I don't want to suggest anybody to do that. But yes, you are correct, right? You use
Okay.
the categories in a way in which the tags or the spheres are kind of like a filtering tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can
So
you
yeah,
just can you bring the screen back to what you guys were talking about in terms of,
the categories,
yeah, so, okay, there's your contacts.
all contacts. So
Mm. So
with
you're
these,
okay, categories, so there you are. So that's what you're talking about doing to trigger an action plan. Is that correct, Rick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
So
like let's say
I
you
would
have the,
trigger it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like, the action plan, like you were mentioning, the form, the online form gets
Mm-hmm.
filled out. So that person comes in as a new contact. So
Mm-hmm.
that action plan can be triggered based off of just it being a new contact, right? So you really don't have to, and it can be like and you could have a category. And in fact, I think if we looked at it correctly, this will give you like a referral source, and it'll give you a group. So you could, and here's these. So you could have So if you had prospect as a category here, it would then put it in a prospect. So 2 ways to skin the cat. There's like there's like 3 ways to skin the cat. But the important thing is that it does get triggered, immediately put into a category, right? So that it's categorized. And then if it went through the complete action plan, let's say it moves into a different category, you could have another action plan if you wish. It's just you have to think about all the stages in which that person's going to go. And if it's automated, you just have to think of all the possibilities and through the automation where it will go, right? And how much do you have to not play? Or you can put the automation to the side, be the person who does the triggers to kind of get the feeling of it. And then you automate all the things once you're secure that this is where these leads go and how they go. And then that'll make it at least automated. But I know the automated is a step for people to make, right? You don't want stuff automatically sending out communications or set up anything that would do that. But through the categories, you do set up all the automation. It's just I can see how people get a little scared with it.
So if I
You
want,
have the sheets, you have the fan, and you have the automation.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Allison.
well, I was just asking, so would this be something, say, for instance, after open enrollment, I've got all the new people that have enrolled. I mean, I send everything over to Sparky, so he makes any changes, she makes any changes and whatnot. But maybe I could say, for instance, set it up so that I have active members, but I have a date. So they became an active member effective 1/1. So, and then I want a welcome email to go out to them with their membership numbers, and just some little suggestions about setting up their accounts and things like that. So I could actually set up maybe a 2-step process for an action plan based on them becoming a new member effective a certain date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, if
So
you wanted to do that,
in an email, you could tell them, hey, set your apps up, set your account up, make sure you you can get your will done, and hey, use member perks, all of those little things that are going to help down the road retain that member.
And here's your membership numbers. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You do that in the first one, the introduction, and so forth, and make sure that they have a picture of you, or a video of you would be even better. And so yeah, hey, we even talked about that on the Elements of Virtual Selling Saturday. So
plug.
plug. Shameless.
It's all good. Give me your
That's
link.
okay.
I'll pass it around.
Great. Jeremy, you should jump into one of those that they do. It's really
I should.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten any email. I have gotten no invite.
I'll put you on the list, my friend.
Oh, you guys got 2 that are interesting. It's the virtual selling one, and then what's the other one that Keith does about
leverage 14.
No,
leverage
preparation.
14.
Isn't it preparation?
Oh yeah, he does the preppers
right?
too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
preppers. Yeah, I always like, you never know when the SHIT is gonna hit the fan.
That's
You
right.
gotta be ready.
Automated.
Exactly. it just hits. So that's good. But so yeah, you set me up for that list, and I'll drop in when I can to kind of get educated as well. But yes, I think this definitely is a something to think about, right? So that you can build your CRM for you and have it work for you as how you work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since that's different for everybody, that's what I just think people need to think about, not how everybody else does it, right? But how you work. And then if you hear some other things and want to add a category here or 2, then at least you've got a good function and use of the program, right? But you're just not waiting for all the categories and got the brakes on.
I have a question maybe for Bob. I don't know if this
Is
is
Bob
something.
still here?
Well, he's muted, but I see his pretty face with his lovely
Wife. I'll ask him
Anyway.
to unmute. Hello, Bob.
Anyway, no, I'm just curious because